quick intro, cut it, and then we'll just jump right into the three bigs. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We doing the flaming logo at the beginning or not?
No, it's the end.
Just at the end. Okay, cool. All right. All right, guys, this is it. The show you've all been waiting for. We've reconvened in the Winterwolf's Den. I'll be bringing in King Z and the Armoress shortly as we welcome you back to our coverage for Disney Plus's finale episode of The Acolyte. Came out last night. We've watched it. We've talked about it amongst ourselves. The internet's done their thing. But we three are going to talk about it right now. Guys, come on in. There we go. Okay. We got King Z. Dude, what's going on? Real quick. Good. Excellent. Great. Don't say anything. Moving right along. Armoress, what's going on? Good. Great. Nothing going on. We're going to jump right into this. I'm sure we have a lot to talk about because it's the moment we've all been waiting for, you know, finale episode of the critically renowned Acolyte. Leslie Headland's baby. Kathleen Kennedy's crown jewel. 67,000 years in the field, in the trade, in the craft, whatever. And this is it. This is what you wanted. We've said it from the beginning. This was their shot to tell us an original story, their characters, their ideas, their craft applied to the best of their ability. And here we are. King Z, give me just an opening salvo. What did you think of this episode? On par with the others in that context only, not compared to Mando, TLJ, just this show.
As you said, they had an opportunity squandered to tell a original story in a known universe. They didn't abide by the rules. They tried to make their own rules of a established IP that has a huge fan base, and all they did was spit in the fans of the people who've loved this show, this series, this IP for years, reading the comic books, reading the books, watching the original trilogy, hoping for the sequel. I mean, this show made me miss TLJ.
Oh God. Okay. Hot take coming in hot. Okay. All right. Okay. Armoress, same deal. Within the context of this show, what did you think of this episode as it stacks against the rest? Did it live up to any kind of expectation or not? What do you think overall?
No, I think it kind of went along with all the other episodes. There was nothing really, I didn't think there was anything really special or amazing about it compared to all the other ones. I mean, so far, I think the only episode that stood out was the lightsaber episode. Other than that, I mean, I did expect a lot more for at least the finale, but we got nothing. You know, as they say, death is a release, not a punishment.
She's quoting Dragonheart. Okay. You know what? Let's just stop here and not do the Acolyte and just go talk about Dragonheart. Better use of our time, honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
You must have really hated us.
Dude, I loved it. Dude, Ina had it right.
But yeah, I feel more, I don't know, I feel kind of relieved. It's over, and I'm praying that there isn't a season 2, but I can't put all my eggs in that basket. I'm sure
we'll definitely talk about season 2. Believe that.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that.
Yeah, I don't know. I expected more. I guess I expected just a little bit more, but it was still on par with all the other episodes.
I think I agree with you on that. I think that this felt like it could have been any episode, anywhere from like 3 to 7. Like it could have been placed anywhere. It could have been half a flashback, a half a current episode. It could have been anywhere in the plot line. I think there's a lot of stuff that was cut and pasted out of order. I didn't understand all of a sudden, like Jedi Master Green Nepo chick getting into it with the senator with some fairly like high stakes and interesting angle of like, we need an independent review. Like, why aren't we talking about that at the beginning so we can see some scheming like Game of Thrones? You know what I mean? Let's get some conspiracy going here. That way you can actually sell that the Jedi are dirtbags if that's what you want it to do. Because that's as it stands. I don't know. I still don't know. And we're going to talk about this as we get into the episode. I don't know who the good guys are in this show. I don't know who the real villain is on this show. Honestly, I don't know who I'm supposed to be like in there, whose corner I'm supposed to be in. The twin, not twins. Like, I honestly, worst part of the show. Crappiest part of the episode here for me anyway. The Jedi, incompetent, didn't like them. The witches, two of them had speaking lines. It wasn't enough, throughout the course of the series to really pin down all of them. as good, bad, or anywhere in between. So I just don't get it. I don't get what they were going for here at all. So I think let's just throw ourselves into this episode, hope for the best, and give some maybe add some context as we go. Kingsley, you want to swing us over to the vertical so we can get the episode up if you have it, or you want to just skip out on that?
Oh, I can
Not
pull
run
it
with that.
up.
We don't dude. I don't need it if you don't want it. I mean, I was gonna do a rewatch, and then I said I got better shit to do. I'm not gonna rewatch this episode.
Okay.
As long as you guys can guide it.
I know what's going on. Which
you
was
guys
nothing.
just watched it today. Yeah, dude, exactly. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
I watched it twice.
Okay, all right, then I might lean on you to remind me if I'm going to do some jumping around. Armor, she just let me know if I skip anything important because I don't think I did, or I will. So this episode picks up right off the end of episode 6. It cuts right into that kind of spot where everybody's kind of heading in that one direction with their quarry. We have on the one side it's Chimere, Smilo Ren with Osha, who's now having second thoughts about whose side she's on for the 9th time. And then on the other side, we've got Master Soul. He's got May in custody for reasons he wants to go back to Brendock and have a confession. I don't know why. I'd be like, bro, we're just going to Coruscant. I'll do it there. What's the difference? Like, why do we have to go back to your home planet? I don't know. And then we have Green Chick Jedi Master coming in with the 3rd ship, and she drives all around the galaxy and never finds Saul until the end. And then she parks 900 miles away and it's too late to intervene. End episode. I mean, like, that's pretty much how it went down, in my opinion. But I mean, which side do you guys want to do first? You guys want to talk about Sexy Beach with Smilo Ren and Osha, or do you want to do the Saul May stuff first? I think they're both stupid, so I don't care.
Well, that's where the
Any
episode kind of
opinions?
starts, is with Osha and the stranger.
Yeah.
I'm never going to call him that. It's Smilo Ren. It's not the stranger. It's Smilo Ren. I don't care what the subtitles say. Dude, let's start there then. Kingsley, you brought it up. Walk us through what's going on there. Like, tie it into the last episode.
So it takes it immediately off of where we were in episode 6 before we had the pointless episode 7, where she puts the helmet on, and then all of a sudden she starts freaking out and affecting everything around her. And then he comes, and like you just see, like, he gets the black eyes of the witch taking over his mind. Like, he is in 2 different realities as he tries to remove the helmet to help her out. And then she's like breathing real heavy. They get it off, and then for reasons,
The helmet.
Yeah, the helmet. Pause.
Not sexy.
You want to hold it?
She didn't, because she was into Jackie, but they forgot that and never mentioned her again. But anyway.
Yep. So he gets the helmet off, and she's breathing real heavy. And then, like I said, for reasons, because somehow they have to bring everyone together, and they wasted a whole episode to just show us different camera angles of episode 3, that she can now see the future. And now she knows exactly where they need to go, but won't tell him. Like, no, now you got to follow me. And she dresses in her all black, dark Sith female episode, and then leads him by, leading the supposedly Sith Lord by the hand. Okay, follow me. Because, if you could see the future, if you could always see the future, why didn't you just know that this show was going to suck and take this role? So
it sounds like Leslie Headland needed that helmet so she could know that.
And then, yeah, that's where the beginning. That's the beginning.
So let me ask you this: like, we know this is completely derivative in so many places of other Star Wars things, like the twins fascination, and like some of the stuff that the dark side does and doesn't do, what their motivations are. Do we really need to reach outside of Star Wars and start ripping off things like the X-Men with, like, Professor X's Cerebro helmet, not Professor X, Magneto's anti-Professor X helmet to, like, block out other people reading his mind? Or then at what point did it become like a Dungeons and Dragons helmet where now it has like mind future seeing +3? Like, I don't understand. Like, we don't talk about this helmet. It's not an ancient artifact MacGuffin that he acquired, that he gave us like 2 sentences of, I killed my old master and took this from him. I recovered this from a Sith temp. Nothing like that. It's just a thing that enables the plot to happen. I don't like stuff like that. I don't know, Armoress, if you want to touch on anything in that ridiculously cringe scene like where Osha starts doing her best impression of like my 5-year-old when he was doing Darth Vader impressions when we gave him a mask, 5 years ago. Like,
Yeah.
thoughts on this opening bit? Like, does your little tend to do funny stuff like that? Because that's what this felt like.
Yeah,
You know?
I think it was just a weird, I think it was meant to be more of a weird foreshadowing moment.
Yeah.
Because she says, I saw May, I'm probably misquoting it, but I saw May with her hand out and she was killing someone or killing Soul, I think she had
Killing
mentioned.
Saul. Yeah, no, she said
Killing
his name.
Saul.
Yep.
And then you reverse it, and because it ends up being Osha instead.
Right.
So I think that was kind of foreshadowing the whole, like, they are one piece, one person, which I still don't understand. They didn't explain it enough, but something about they
They
were
explained
together,
nothing.
but born as two at the end, and whatever. I mean, it was all just, it was just terrible. Again, terrible writing. We'll just go back to that. But I think that was just foreshadowing the fact that she saw May doing it, but it was actually her. And I also wanted to mention, it was actually, the line was pretty cringy. When they were ready to get on the ship, he started mentioning about, like, well, what ship you gonna take? Because I'm taking mine.
Right.
And they have a little bit of back and forth, and then they finally agree to go together. And then the line that made me cringe was, Smiler Ren says, "We go together and see who gets her first." It was just, it was so, to me, it was just so weak. It was just the weakest writing. It was stupid. It sounded like two kids on a playground, kind of
This
going
whole
out of
show has
dance
sounded like
stuff.
that.
It was,
The
yes.
whole
So
damn thing has
that
sounded
one just,
like that. Man.
it just made me, that one made me cringe. That was a cringing moment.
I could see that for sure. There was nothing. There was no tension there. There was no stakes implied. There was no menace. Like, oh no, we have to work together for now. But which one of us is going to screw the other one? First. Like, none of that. None of that bullshit. And I don't get why there would have been any mystery to where the other half was going. Like, Smilo Ren seems to be a pseudo effective villain. Like, he couldn't guess that's where that's where they would have gone. Like, I don't know. I don't get it. It's just the opening salvo of this crap fest episode, because it moves then right into Saul finally trying to have his big conversation with May on his ship, as they're also going to Brendock. That she's got May up in the restraints on the table. For some reason, he did not disarm her of her pip droid. So they ripped off Fallout. So let's just keep a list if we could. We've done X-Men. Now we're on to Fallout. He didn't remove the Pip Boy from her. He starts to have the explanation about, I've let the Jedi know we're going to Brendock because we have to go to your home so I can yada yada, like the Armoress said. I'm paraphrasing. I got to confess what really happened. It's like she's dragging it out of him, but he's just willingly giving up. Like, I feel guilty about what happened. She uses the Pip Boy to slip one restraint, and then somehow Phase passes out of the other restraint, which she didn't open, and is able to then use the Pip Boy as a stun gun to shock
Because
him
plot device.
because plot device.
Right.
Apparently, like, again, the Pip Boy is like every fucking James Bond gadget ever wrapped up into one thing.
Right.
It can also throw the oil slick in your eye. That comes up
Yep.
again later. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it can
And
be, it's a lockpick, it's a stunner. It tried to override. It was a hacking device in episode 1, right? When she was
Yep.
when Osha was trying to get out of a jail cell. So I
Yep.
mean, okay, this is I want one. I want a Pip, whatever it's called, Pip Bot. I want to call it Pimp Bot. I think that's funnier. We should probably just call it that. Get it like the hack.
And don't forget that in last episode 6, not the last episode, it was reset to factory standards yet. It
Oh,
can
right,
still
right, right.
operate.
Well, she hit the down volume and the home button for 10 seconds, and that's what
Yeah.
you do.
Yeah, you get the
But it
reboot.
seems like over the course of Star Wars, the droids just, they're just like cell phones. They keep getting smaller. We got
Yeah.
R2D2, and then BB-8 got smaller, and now you got the Pip Boy.
Yep. Sure. And if you want to throw in even just the I don't know if you guys game to the level that I game with Star Wars stuff, but in the two most recent console games, the main character Cal Kestis had, I think it was DO4, and it basically looked like the little lamp from the what was that old animated movie, like the Broken Toaster or something? It was like
The
mega
brave little
big.
toaster.
Brave Little Toaster. Yeah, from
Woo!
the 80s. Nightmare fuel for kids today. But you guys remember the lamp from that?
Yep.
Like suicidal lamp from that movie? Yeah, no, the guy in these games has a droid that looks like that. minus the power cord with like the conical head that can shine the light. It's kind of funny. But yeah, so she uses I got sidetracked. I'm gonna do that a lot. She uses Pipbot, gets away from Saul. Saul again can't manage to run this chick down on his ship. It's a distance of 15 feet. She gets to an escape pod. He doesn't force slam the door. He doesn't force grab her. He doesn't do a damn thing except let her go. Right?
Oh, and then there was another line, "See you in hell, Jedi."
Right. See
Yeah,
you in hell.
So apparently there's
What?
hell now.
It's canon.
Not-
Hell is
and not-
canon in a galaxy
and
far
not
away.
return back to the energy that is the focal point of the Force.
I don't know. Dude, I'm glad the Armor's point. Armor's your job tonight is to keep track of the cringe lines. I'll keep track of all the other fandoms they violate, and King Z will have to have the scene by scene if we miss anything big. So she jumps on the escape pod. There's no manual override that can disable her taking off. She just knows how to pilot this craft and get it going. She slaps on the pilot helmet, which for some reason had a couple of insignias that look like the Rebel Alliance sigil. I thought that was odd. Vernestra has it on her cloak at the end of the episode as well. I'm like, people are saying it's not the Rebel Alliance thing. I'm like, it's not exactly the same, but it's similar enough that it occurred to me to mention it. So I don't know.
In that part, you
Yep.
can technically defend because the Rebel Alliance was trying to bring back the Old Republic. It could have been a symbol of the Old Republic, just and remade for the Rebel Alliance.
Okay, cool. Dude, you know what? Great observation. Thank you, as usual, for pointing that kind of stuff out. Talks me back from the ledge a little bit. So thank you for that. So I heard somebody make the joke. It was a female streamer. So I'm going to just copy it. Said, I thought in space there was less stuff to crash into, so women should be better drivers. Because what we have here is May take her craft, her escape pod fighter, into like the ring of Brendok to get away. And apparently
When
the
there was
writers
no
that gave
ring before when they flew in.
There wasn't.
So.
Beside the point.
Once
The same
again,
writers that brought us campfires in space obviously don't know that running through the debris of a planetary ring is going to Swiss cheese your ship instantly. And it doesn't matter the size of the ship because she says to the fucking Pip bot, oh, he can't follow us in here. His ship's too big. Well, neither one of them should have gone in there. They both did. Nothing effing happened. And all it would have taken to avoid a-holes like me pointing it out was she just had to yell at the droid, raise the deflector shields. Like, you know, like when Han did when they came into the asteroid field in Alderaan and yada, yada, like smart sci-fi stuff. All they had to say, but no, they were so caught up in having the visual because the visual looked kind of cool of running through the ice. You know, there's like a cyclone-y kind of funnel in one section where they bobbed and weaved around. Yep, what I'm saying. So, I mean, they were sold on the visual, but again, it defeats. I can't suspend my disbelief enough for them to do that. What did you guys think of that sequence there? Stupid, or was it okay just because the visual looked pretty? Take it over. Yeah, go ahead. Do you think
it was stupid?
Okay.
Yeah,
King Z, do your thing.
It was stupid, but why didn't Saul just fly above it?
That's what I was about to say.
He knew where she was going.
Do they not live in a three-dimensional world where they, you go above the ring? They have scanners and sensors. He knows where the ship is. You can literally see it through the debris if you just look down. So I don't see what the big getaway was. This was a scene just to fill screen time.
Yes. Oh, it looks cool.
Oh, dude, for sure. Exactly what I was going to say. I think I know where they spent most of their budget now. It was probably this shit right here. Like to render these effects for the 40 seconds that they were doing this. No, the thing I wanted to add to that. Oh, God, King said, yeah.
I figured out where their money went. Their money went to counselors and stuff for safe spaces from all the Star Wars fans that they all have to deal with now.
They need that now back. The thing I wanted to add to this to the chase scene because it's so stupid. It reminded me of a high speed chase in like Cars, in like Lethal Weapon or something like that, where like King Z is making the getaway and like I'm Riggs and I'm up on his ass in the car behind him. I'm trying to bump him. You know what I mean? Like, bro, you've got lasers and targeting systems. You don't need to bump her to line up the shot. You can fire from hundreds of kilometers away effectively in this world. It's not like the bumping shit. I'm like, no, stop it. You did not need to do that.
You didn't have to get that close to line up a shot. Like, she wasn't even swaying. Like she was flying straight. Dude, you just line up and
at some
this
point,
targeting system has it.
I legit thought at some point Vin Diesel was going to hang out of Saul's ship, clip the wire to his belt, and then just jump onto her ship. I thought that was the move because it's about family in Star Wars, right?
This doesn't make
You know,
sense, Dom. It doesn't have to make sense if you got family.
Exactly. I thought dude was gonna do it and then reach in and just gonna smash the window. The Rock was gonna pop away a torpedo, and then he was gonna grab the space steering wheel and crash her ship. But speaking of crashing ships, for some reason, and I don't remember, why does May's ship go down? Did she finally take damage to crash? Is that what happened, or did she just go down?
So
Like,
what happened was, first off, you got little rat boy Basil there flipping sides. He flipped sides for some reason. Like, you don't know if he should, because here's the thing that is canon in Star Trek, even though we know that it doesn't matter. I mean, it's like, whose line is it anyways? The story's made up.
Star Wars.
Star Wars. Sorry.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah,
we have to be better than they are.
Yeah, where the story's made up and the canon doesn't matter. They have ion weapons.
T-shirt.
That can disable ships. That was the whole. That's how they escaped Hoth. They fired ion cannons that disabled the Star Destroyers, so their low transports can get through.
Dude, that's one of the reasons TLJ sucked, because Dickweed Ryan Johnson wanted World War II bombers dropping like regular ballistic bombs down instead of using Y-wing bombers to do the same effing thing. Dude, they don't know. Dude, they honestly don't know.
So Basil doesn't know what he's going to shoot. He just sees him flip the thing. So he pulls wires that cause him to slam into the back of her, that causes her ship to flip like a car on a racetrack that hit a wet spot, and then crash into the planet. Now, I know Star Wars does not have the best space physics when it comes to their starships and how it goes through. If you're talking about hyperspace, you're not coming to a dead stop. You're just not. You're still going to be traveling at speeds.
Inertia's a thing.
Yep.
Inertia's a thing.
But you're still not going to flip on your side, and then you would still be going in one direction and not start falling towards the planet in a gravitational pull down from that type of impact. But that's what happened. But and then Soul Ship, he gets to land just fine, even though it has no power now because he ripped wires.
Don't go past Basil yet, because I want to get the Armoress's take on Basil. Is this dude like a triple, double, reverse, negative Uno card secret agent? What is this fucking Space Gopher's deal? Like, what is the potential? If you were writing this bullshit, what is his motivation for pulling random wires? Second and follow-up question. Is everybody in this world cross-trained in every possible technical job? Like, everybody's a pilot, everybody's a gunsmith, everybody's a fucking engineer that can rip a random panel in a hallway of a spaceship off the wall, pull a random wire, and it disables targeting, it disables inertial dampeners, it disables hyperdrive. I don't know. What is going on with Basil?
He hit one wire and it did a lot of damage, and it was pretty close to the surface. It wasn't even behind anything. It was wide open. What if you walked by one day and
you got dome light out in your truck? It's like pulling the dome light out in your truck.
What if you walked by and got something hooked on it one day and it pops right out? But yeah, it's just like it does. Yeah.
Even if we allow for the stupidity, why would he do it? But why? Whose side is he on? Why is he letting the mass murdering chick go? He was paid by the Jedi to happen. Exactly.
Yep.
Plot. Oh my God.
Where plot's more important than story.
Dude, I don't understand. Dude, sidebar, right? Is Basil a worse character than Jar Jar?
Yes. Hands down.
Okay.
110%.
Quick answer, hands down. I like that. Armoress, go. Worse than Jar Jar or no?
Yeah, I would say even
Jar Jar really saved them from the battle droids.
Just his mannerisms are annoying. Just the way that he functions and yeah, he just. Yeah. I mean, it seems like he's narcissistic without even talking.
I don't get it. And then later in the episode, he's on a ship and like he picks up the scent in space. And I'm like, or that happened before this chase. I don't remember when it happened, but like dude. That's not. There's three things that don't work in space, like sound, scent, and fire. Like, stop it, show. Just stop.
Because
no more
space,
Basil, please.
No one can hear you scream.
or smell or light a cigarette or I don't know. What were you gonna say, Armoress? You were gonna jump in on that. Go ahead.
Well, no, I was thinking about the fact that they don't have physics and they don't go by physics. But I mean, it seemed like that was just it was beyond regular Star Wars physics. It was just it was physics, like it was so noticeable the fact
Yeah.
that her ship, okay, so her ship is spinning out of control, but then when they pan back to her in the cockpit, she's like moving side to side, like maybe an inch. But then it goes back to her ship spinning out of control towards the planet. But she's cool. She's in control. She's just kind of wiggly in there. And then finally then she gets through the atmosphere, which I'm sure is a whole big deal in the real world. And then
Huge deal.
gets down to the
Re-entry.
then gets to the
Yeah, re-entry's
actual surface of the planet, which she's probably, I mean, how fast do you think this plane is probably going at this point?
Thousands of
And
miles
then
an
she
hour.
just kind of she bounces. She just bounces
Good point.
right
You said
off
that
the
earlier.
surface. I think she bounced twice. It bounced twice. Anywhere on any other planet, TV show, anything, the ship would have been in a gajillion pieces. It would have been a huge massacre. I mean, just I'm trying to think of, like, look at look at the when the Empire ships just kind of like they're cruising real slow and they hit the surface and guess what? They explode. You know what I
Right?
mean?
When a TIE fighter hits an asteroid, it basically disintegrates.
Pretty much, yeah. But no, that ship that she was in, it bounced twice.
Yep. Made out of unobtainium, I guess. I guess they visited maybe they visited Pandora, mined all the unobtainium. Pandora, Avatar. Okay, that's the third thing on the list. All right, what happens when these clowns touch down? Is this where they cut to the green chick for the first time? So we get that senator scene?
So
Is
it
that up
shows
next?
them land, and then this is where he turns back on the transponder of his ship.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Because one, he ran from the Jedi in episode 6 just to turn his stuff back on.
Abruptly.
And then he just turns it back on. And now here we go. Where we're going to talk about well, one good thing, one of my positives, where's the camera? There it is. Positive.
Yeah.
The line she said, "I wish this thing had hyperspace." Good line.
Okay.
Good line.
Yes, because that in that situation, it points out something, because had she made the jump, we'd have been like, the fuck, there's no way. Your escape pod doesn't have hyperdrive. But her saying she didn't have it and had a limitation locks in her logic point. She can't go anywhere but down. You know what I mean? It doesn't excuse fucking dipshit Saul from not knowing where she could go and having to follow her through the ice ring around the planet that wasn't there in episode 3.
You have a limited range. I know where you're going.
Saying, you know what I mean?
It's like you get in a fight with your kid and he runs home and it's like, I know where you live.
He runs to his room. Yeah, it's about that. So yeah, he clicks the transponder on, they disembark, I think, and then after is this where we get Vernestra with the senator? He's beefing. He's kind of like, she plays him out like he's not popular in the Senate. They do hint that the Jedi are still kind of venerated, I guess would be the word, respected, but he's not buying it. He's like, no, we need an independent review. Something's wrong. You guys are a little dogmatic. We need to look into that shit. But they pass that off until the end of the episode, where they literally just become a mouthpiece for the writers to let you know what they think about the IP.
Yeah, I mean, the scene should have happened in like episode 2.
So, yeah, dude. Yes. Yes.
So, and then the other part about that was I did like his line where he was like, he's like, you try to control the uncontrollable. She's like, no, the Force we don't control. He's like, I didn't mention the Force. It's your emotions.
Right.
Which I think is a very good line
she force
to
opens
have.
The door.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
good line.
then that's and that's when Mr. Assistant comes in and says his transponder come back on, and she's like, get my ship ready. After they already had a conversation about her getting sick in hyperspace.
Again.
Yeah,
it's character development, guys.
But why is she telling? I don't know. I just thought it was a strange line for her to say, "Get my ship ready" to a guy who I guess he's a Jedi, right? He's not like airplane personnel. I mean, is that what happens? Is he supposed to get their ship ready even though he's a Jedi? I mean,
he's an assistant.
It was a weird line.
I don't know.
Hierarchy master tonight. That's all I
Yeah.
like to say on that one. That's probably
And
the
then he's
only
just and then he's
justification.
just running down to the hangar to be like, yo, prep this chick shuttle.
But let's go back to the bad. When
Yeah, we're done here.
when Soul was leaving the ship, he stops, and now all of a sudden he can sense somebody because plot.
Reasons.
Yeah,
Reasons.
he couldn't do this when he couldn't tell the difference between May. Well, we found out why, because they're the same person, so that makes a little bit of sense.
I'm not giving them that out,
but
they became two different people with two different personalities, different emotional, well, hypothetically different emotional ranges. The actress is awful. I'll say it. I was going to give her a pass because I heard she's been decent in other stuff. She had 2 jobs in this show. She played 2 characters the exact same way, and in this episode, they were exactly the same way. But now he should have known. But like, dude, like everything else on this show, force powers are just they're cards in a deck that you have sometimes, but not all the time. One time we can force mind read, then we can't. We can be force sensitive and know who's around, then we don't. We can do a force push when we're under pressure, then you can't. We can do a force grab and hold 2 people on a bridge, but then I can't do that late. Like, no.
Open doors.
Everything force, dude. Saying everything in this show, force see the future, force echo, like Vernester does at the end, where she arrives to where Saul is at the end and basically hears, like, force echoes the conversation. None of these powers make sense. They're all inconsistent as all hell. I can't take much more of that on this show. Thank God it's over, because I don't think I was waiting for her. I honest to God, hand to God, I was like, she's gonna fucking heal this guy. He's absolutely gonna force heal this dude. It's setting up.
Is the thing.
Yeah, because they invented it in shitty ass Rise of Dipwalker, and it's never been accepted by anyone with an IQ above room temperature. You know, it's awful, dude. It eliminates any kind of stake from the universe at all. You know, if you can force heal a mortal wound, but come on. Thankfully, they didn't do that here. But where are we in this episode? They had the senator thing. I agree. It should have been another one, because I think we met him in episode 2, but they didn't talk about
it was like episode
she meets
4.
somebody else.
But
It wasn't him, right?
Yeah,
was
it was
him?
one of her agents inside the Senate that was giving her an update, like, this senator is coming after you type thing.
But didn't she brush somebody off in chambers that wasn't the assistant? I vaguely remember.
It was a hologram. It was a hologram call that she was on.
But it wasn't the guy that she ended up seeing in this episode, correct?
No.
Okay. Never mind.
That was who she was warned about in that telephone call.
And then he finally made his appearance in the finale episode with an interesting angle that they then hung out to fucking dry and just paid off with the lying bullshit at the end. Okay, got it. What happens next? Because I don't remember. I don't care. Is this where we get into the fighting or no?
Osha and Spilo Ren get to the elevator. I remember this because there was another like cheesy moment, a cheesy line, but
go ahead.
She said to him, it's either this elevator or you need to climb. And then he goes, are you sure? And then just disappears.
Force teleports.
So yeah, that's all I could think of. We have teleportation now. We have invisibility. We get all right. I just have to
mind control. Mind control is a thing here.
Oh no, that was from witches.
Yeah, but are they really witches or are they dark force? I don't know. I'm
gonna still go with witches because witches are a thing in the whole thing with was it the witches of
Night Sisters?
Yeah, the Night Sisters.
Night Sisters.
Dathomir.
That's fine. But this chick went out of her way to tell us this isn't that. You know, they step on every possible thing they can step on in making this show. They really do. Like, they really go out of their way. My favorite part about the elevator bullshit, besides this dopey teleport, is she says, or you can climb. And I'm like, that's not a big deal. I watched this dude do that twice inside of 6 hours 15 years ago, and he was 3 times your age. Who gives a shit? It's apparently not that difficult, number one. And then number 2, the power's on after the volcanic eruptions that destroyed and baked this base.
We watched the power core explode.
And their own justification for the fire spreading was that disruption in the power supply burned the wires, and that's what set the thing off. So your own canon in real life explanation for this nonsense can't save you because you literally thought none of your bullshit through. So the power just turns on. She does a thing.
And you didn't hotwire the elevator in a galaxy far, far away like you would do a 1977 Chevy?
dude, red wire or white wire, I guess. Like this, that's how it goes. I love at the end when the Jedi show up and just like the rando no-name Jedi is just like opens the fucking door and they all walk in. Like, okay. Stands to reason. Smilo Ren murked like 9 of you. He probably could have done the
He probably
thing
just
not
ripped the
invented Force
doors
teleportation.
off.
Oh, dude, seriously. He
Yeah.
could have just looked at it angry. Like stern look, and it just fucking
And then it runs
falls.
away.
Yeah, no, it sprouts metal legs and it clomps off. Like, I'm fucking I'm out.
I'm done.
Fuck this show. It's so stupid.
He
All
rides
right, so
in a
they go in. I don't know. Like the door runs away and cries for its door mom. Like, I don't know. It needed to do something. So they get in, right? And then is this
Now we get to battles.
now we get to battles because Saul is pursuing May, can't find her. She, for some reason, is hiding in the giant pit she fell in as a kid and hanging off the ledge, and he can't find her. That comes up in a little while. That's where she is while this is happening. Because then Saul's walking around, he bumps into Smilo Ren.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
Like,
the
basically get there.
cheesy line.
And
We
then
make a
battle.
great team.
We make a great team.
I in my head, I was trying to keep track of how many lines they rip off from like OT because near the end, Vernestra uses like 2 of them. There's like I thought there were like at least 4 or 5. I'd have to go back and rewatch this shit and write them down. But like Saul and Smilo Ren, they get into some fisticuffs. They've already squared off once before. I'll do my one positive for the episode. The choreography between these two with the lightsaber duel, pretty slapping while it lasted. It was fast. It was frantic. It was shot in a way that the cuts weren't so fast. It was fluid. I could see what was going on. Like there was what's what I'm looking for. It was dynamic in that the strikes, the counter strikes, the feints, the blocks, the dodges, all that stuff. It all made sense. Like I'm not an expert, but I know when some shit doesn't look right. Like when Ahsoka was fighting Anakin in her show, I'm like, this is one of these two is really much better than the other. And I felt like
stiff, why the other one looks like yeah.
And not because of like character driven reasons, like because like performer reasons were contributing there. Here, no, these slashes were like lightning, the rhythm of like grabbing the wrists and pushing off the parries all look good. And then they fucking flushed it with that crouching tiger, hidden dragon bullshit.
Oh yeah,
dude, did you laugh? Did we all laugh?
That was my exact joke.
The 1, 2, 3 kicks in the air.
Oh, dude, I saw that. That was the Saul running jump kick into the tap, tap, tap. That's a Matrix ripoff. Throw that up there. But dude, the crouching tiger, hidden dragon, slow-mo
hidden
thing.
Jedi.
Like, the crouching jet. Dude, that's what I'm calling it. Crouching tiger, hidden Jedi. Some of that shit worked up front with Trinity because Trinity. And like you were setting a tone, I guess, and you were trying to hook people into watching your show. It didn't need it here. And it took too long. Dude, it was like a 15-second descent down to the ground. Dude, I'm like, it was like, you remember when they parodied that in the original Scary Movie? Where the chick standing in as Trinity was up in the air, but then she got stuck, and then like they did it on King of Queens, and Kevin James got stuck in the wires and shit. That's what it felt like. I'm like, no. What were you saying?
Like the Irish jig dancing.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Scary Movie. Like, no, you can't. Like, you were doing so well. Like the saber combat was legit. I'm like, okay, that's like click, 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 spin, dodge, dive, dip. It was like dodgeball, you know?
Yeah.
And like, nope, it couldn't last. But that's my one. And that's literally all you're getting from me in this episode. I have nothing else good to say about that.
The two fighting, I would have to add into that where he had it was almost like he had the dagger and the sword.
Yeah. That was cool.
That was even really good. Like I mean, we have canon where there's the
dude, I'm with that.
Darth Maul the thing. So having a lightsaber and a lightsaber is
he used that
cool
in episode 5 too when he was dealing with the other ones. He brought it back. Yep, because that was the one he triple stabbed with. And I saw somebody bitching about it with the not having the need for the short saber. And I'm like, well, I get it. There's no weight to the weapon, but sometimes you're fighting in close quarters. Maybe you don't want to destroy everything around you. So, a parrying saber, I could see how that could work. I'm not going to pick that apart because I could see why you might not want 2 full-size sabers in a situation.
And then they used the Force Awaken thing where he threw the lightsaber and then brought it back. I thought that was actually pretty cool because they used something.
It was all kind of condensed. I'll give it. It was all that whole fight scene was good except for the drop. That was just stupid, and it undid most of it. Armoress, you want to talk about saber combat? Were you feeling this like the combat from episode 4 or whatever it was, or was this not up to speed because of the crouching tiger, hidden Jedi? Or what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. Other than that the crouching tiger moment and the three kicks moment kind of threw it off too.
Three.
Um,
So now it's like Star Wars Three Ninjas Kickback. Like,
yeah. Other than that, it was. I mean, it was like again. Another cheesy line was Smilo Ren. I think just before they start fighting, he said something about like, "Not if she gets you first." So
oh
again,
yeah,
I kept writing
that
these
was
down.
I think that was after he beat
Can't
him.
be so
That was
many of these.
after Saul got the drop on him because he was like, "I'll kill you if I have to," and
Mm,
then Smiler goes, "Oh, not
yeah.
if she does." And I'm like, "Oh, here we go." All
Yeah,
right,
I mean, other than that, I liked it. I thought, Squid Game guy did pretty good.
yeah, for sure.
But then they kept cutting to the sisters, and that was
Yeah,
just awful.
okay.
The
So let's
the
talk about
the
that in juxtaposition.
the
Go ahead,
most
Kingsley.
the most anticipated showdown of the century,
Since
prize
Clegane
fight.
Bowl.
You
Mhm.
have antagonist versus protagonist sister, one on
Kind
one,
of.
mano y mano, and it was the most stiff twin fight you've ever
Oh
seen.
my God, dude. It was so, dude, it was the antithesis of the fluidity that we had just literally seen 30 seconds ago with the saber
And
combat
he was,
with the
and the
guys.
guy who plays Soul is like twice her age and
Yep.
moved more fluently and graceful than
Yep.
she did.
Dude, and it's weird because we've been told that she did her own stunt work, right? Her own combat. Cause
I'm
like
not surprised.
no, but it looked, didn't it looked okay in the Indara fight in episode 1. Like if that's her doing the wire work and some of the moves, I thought that some of that combat was all right. But here, for whatever reason, her fighting a sparring partner that she had to either map her own appearance over, it just didn't work. None of the strikes were convincing. None of the locks were convincing. The reversals, like it honestly looked like they had slowed the speed down instead of speeding it up to like 1.25 to like lay into how fast and frantic you can move when you're using the force behind your motion. You know what I mean? Like it should have looked quick, and it looked like, no, we're just working through 3/4 speed so nobody gets hurt because we're practicing something. That's what I
And
thought from that.
then they try to play the trope of same fighter fighting each other, but using the same
Yeah,
moves and
mirror
blots on
mirror
each other.
match. Yeah,
Yeah.
no
And the
Mortal
thing
Kombat
is
mirror
that
match.
they weren't trained together. They stopped training when they were
Two
8.
completely different ways. Yep.
So yeah, the twin fight wouldn't work that way. So
Trash. So let's move, let's just keep running it right into like let's get through this, right? So they have their respective battles. Nobody cares. They all end up outside. The big showdown is basically no, May wants Saul to confess. That way Osha can hear it and take whatever measure she wants to take. Because you got to remember, May is now not wholly committed to killing anybody for reasons, right? The kill list thing, that's out the window. She doesn't care. Smilo Ren spends the rest of this scene, actually the rest of the episode, standing around and
yeah,
does
he's
like
just there
nothing else.
because he just happened to be there.
Just there. Now I'm just along for the ride, right? Saul does his thing. He gives his version of the story, but it's super apologetic. You know, I didn't mean it to happen, but you started the fire. And then she's like, right, but you guys came, and he's like, you locked the door and
It
whatever.
was
I don't
always burning since the world's been turning.
saying. And then Osha stumbles out of wherever and she hears it and it breaks her in half. And then she does stuff. I'll let you guys can talk about the doing stuff. I honestly don't care about the show. Armoress, why don't you take this one? Osha hears Saul's story. Walk us through the reaction. Explain to me how stupid, or if you like, I don't know. I'm not going to speak for you. What do you got?
It stinks that I mean that whole scene could have been better with a better actress. Um, Imagine, finding out about this information and then actually putting some emotion into the performance, like getting really upset, getting really pissed. There was nothing. It was just the same kind of monotonous face throughout this whole series. And then she says, "Stop talking," and it just sounds like she's just saying, "Stop talking." And that's it. There's
Right.
no feeling to it. There's no like you can't tell that she's really pissed and she's about to kill you because she's kind of like she's ordering at the prompter at McDonald's. She's like, "Stop talking." Like there's nothing. There's no feeling to it. So it's like you can't really get into the just this whole scene because there's
Situation.
nothing. I mean, you've got the actor that plays Saul kind of running this whole scene back and forth, and she's not giving it anything, and she's stone cold through this whole thing. And then, of course, you've got the convenience of she goes to force choke him. And now, why he didn't force anything back, like, I don't know why he didn't fight back or protect himself or just give her a little push, but he didn't do anything. He let her kill him. And then, of course, it was the convenience line of, because I mean, we can all kind of determine what he was going to say. It
Because
was
he loved her
cheesy.
and he
He
let
did
her
the
kill him
whole,
out of guilt.
yeah. So I don't know. I thought
Here's
it
why I
could
don't buy any of that
done
bullshit.
better with a better actress.
Kingsley, I'm going to modify the situation to let you explain for me, right? I get what they were going for. It's like the Armoress said. They wanted that dramatic conclusion where he atones for the misunderstanding of her mother turning into a forced demon thing and partially vaporizing her sister and the building being on fire, right? They wanted that atonement. At any point, had the grown-up shown up and said something like, whoa, it's all been a misunderstanding. Wait, whoa, hold up. Maybe we could have averted some disaster, but we didn't do it. They wanted their moment, right? I've had people tell me on Twitter all day long that he let her kill her, that he let her kill him for that reason. And I say no. And I say because we know he's aware that Vernesta's ship is fucking landing right now. And he's the only person alive besides the Pip droid, not even the Pip droid because they wiped its memory, but he's the only Jedi alive that knows the Sith are a thing right now because he never told them. Remember that? The comms went out in episode whatever, right?
6.
6, 10, fucking 9. I don't care, right? Would he really have let her kill him with the galactic level Thanos threat that are the Sith lurking out there? Would he not have held on to at least tell somebody in power before he died? What do you think of that?
No.
What did you think of the scene? Give me your rationale for all this bullshit that the Armoress is talking about.
So this ties together that goes all the way back to the first episode, and which they did mention at the very beginning of this episode, is that she killed without a weapon. So she is the Acolyte. The Acolyte is the assassin that can kill without a weapon. And that's what she did. He did let her kill her because he had the line, I understand. And he just let it happen.
Glaring stupidity in the writing and character motivation. I understand that that's what happened. It's just stupid.
Yeah, it goes back. In her, we sense much fear. Fear would lead to anger. Anger would lead to hate. And hate would lead to suffering for Star Wars fans.
Listen, she should have killed her. Dude, seriously. Dude, she should have killed him maybe. But if it's me and I'm that dude in that position, and I know there's the big danger out there, I can feel like I'm the biggest piece of shit on the planet. But you still have to take care of business before you selfishly check out. That's the Jedi way. I'm always saying that throughout this whole show is they tried to deconstruct the Jedi in this show, but wound up making their alleged protagonists so pathetically underdeveloped and written wrongly that it didn't work. It didn't work because when we fast forward all this bullshit and we get to the points where the Jedi land, they park 900 miles away for some reason. They're gonna hoof it in. Vernestra shows up off the ship. She can read her former Padawan because our predictions were correct on that. Obviously.
As soon as she did get on ground.
Got off the ramp, dude. 2 feet off the ramp. She's like, you. And he's like,
and he put his helmet back on.
Right. So that also means he knew at that range she was there. So apparently they're the only 2 people in the world that can rock that kind of connection. Okay. Jedi are on their hike. They get there. The twins, they're not twins, and Smilo Ren have fucked off. They're escaping. We get the throwaway line how she survived the fall, which I thought was fucking laughable, but I appreciate them trying to at least throw it in. Oh, I fell down this 400-story thing like the Emperor did, but a cross pipe sucked me in and I survived. Okay.
That was a Luke Skywalker thing.
Dude, but he fell in a low gravity situation into a pipe that slid him. And also Empire rocks and this show sucked. So, I mean, again, rule of cool can apply when you've earned it. But anyway.
But also, she also said that they had to climb down. So she survived a fall, something that they had to climb down.
Yep. Whatever. Fuck them. So, right. So Vernestra shows up. she starts pairing off her forces to like set up a perimeter. Nobody in this galaxy uses the word click, by the way. Kingsley, I'm sure you picked up on that. We're talking about setting up a perimeter 5 clicks away.
Five clicks away. Find them.
No fucking way any Jedi said that. No way. So she's paring down her forces, and I'm like, oh, dude, fucking Smiler Ren's gonna get the drop on a couple, and then he's gonna duel his old master because that's a big reveal now.
Well, you remember his lightsaber was destroyed, so he didn't have a lightsaber anymore.
Oh, we didn't cover the color changing one.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. Okay. Yeah.
Which is a thing.
Important.
It is a thing. I looked this up.
It's a thing now in Disney canon, in comics, and I have shit to say about it.
No, it was a thing before that.
Nope. It only became canon in print after the acquisition. It was not part of the EU ever. The crystal bleeding thing. The colored crystals obviously always were. The roles they had a designated within the Jedi go back to the old KOTOR games, but the crystal bleeding thing, never a thing until like 2012 or whenever they picked this shit up. But you guys talk about that scene while Saul's doing her thing and she's getting big mad. The lightsabers are a mood ring now. Armoress, take it away.
No, that's it. It's just they've taken the canon and it's now mood sabers. We've got mood sabers, so expect that on the toy shelf in Target. It'll be going blue to red, red to blue, right in time for Christmas.
Oh, dude, I fucking hate it so much. Kingsley, any thoughts on that particular that scene where she's doing it, regardless of canon? Just what did you think of it?
Yeah, based on what I read, that it says that the crystals are in tune with the Force and what's inside you, so it changes colors based on what your intentions are, and that's why it turned red. They hinted at it a few times. They kept zooming in on the lightsaber, and I wonder what was going to happen. And then that happened. I was like, oh, okay. Moving on.
There's a little bit more to it. The way it's been explained to me, like I mentioned earlier, I was watching a lot of Star Wars theory last night, and that's a dude that knows his shit. Right? Yeah. The way it's worked in canon since they included it is that the Jedi still acquire the kyber crystals of the various colors, and they more or less it's their aspects of like the Jedi's personality and nothing else. What happens with the Sith crystals is they start white, and the Sith have a ritual that actually takes time and effort where they pour anger, hatred, violence, atrophy, all those negative emotions through the ritual into the crystal, and that bleeds it red. And it's complicated and it can kill you. Like, I guess when Vader did this in one of his prequel comics, it took him, I think he said, several issues, and it almost killed him. Like, it took time for Vader to do it. This chick did it in 30 seconds because she got big mad.
That you couldn't tell that she was mad, other than she couldn't tell master.
That's it. That expression right there. So, all right. So we did the color saber things. I'm with the Armoress. They're gonna put this on sale at Target. No one's gonna buy it. It'll be on a clearance rack for $18 in like a month because the show sucks.
We did miss one other big thing that happened way back at the beginning.
Yeah.
And that was the dude in the cave.
Hand around the corner.
I was leaving that to the end. We can do that right now if you want. We can do that right now. We're near the end anyway. So I was holding on to this because I know the Armoress is kind of big on original trilogy, prequel trilogy, but then I don't know so much that she's read any of the novels, played the game, stuff like that. And I wasn't sure where you were, Kingsley, with the expanded stuff beyond like Heir to the Empire and Thrawn, because you knew your stuff pretty well for that. Did either of you know at a glance who that guy at the cave was?
It was
it was Snoke, actually. That's who Snoke is a cloak of.
Okay, they speculate that hasn't been confirmed, but it's on the Wikipedia now for what it's worth that it is Darth Plagueis, and that for some reason he was hanging out on the cave at Sexy Beach, spying and doing Plagueis stuff. I don't know. Rule of two, I guess, doesn't matter. I don't know. It's stuff. But I know a lot of people are pissed because this is a fairly big villain in the EU, and the first live action appearance is him looking like To Catch a Predator in a cave on Sexy Beach. So a lot of people were pissed once they understood that the larger context of this villain's appearance has been wasted. And I guess too, just like the Kiadi Mundi thing, is there's a timeline issue that Wikipedia had to go back and edit because his original canonical birth and death dates didn't line up with this High Republic period. That like he's either at this point on the official timeline before they change shit up, he's either 15 years old or he's -12, because that's as far as his life could have been at this point 87 years ahead of the Phantom Menace. So wasted character right there. Kind of botched the incomingness for a show that no one watched, for a show no one's going to remember in 2 months. Like fact, no one's going to remember.
Oh, they're not going to let us forget it. They're going to shove it down our throat, and then they're going to throw a season 2 out there. Because I mean, you did tell by the way they wrote this that they wrote it for a season 2.
Oh, they left a bunch of open threads for sure.
Yeah.
But let's get the Armoress's take. Like, did you know that was Darth Plagueis, or did you go back and like read internet stuff to see who it was, or what's your take on just that whole bit?
I didn't know who it was. I had only heard it on the internet somewhere, and I thought it was who King Z said it was. But that was, I don't know. I didn't do any research on it, and I didn't know who it was.
He's the guy, if you remember from the opera scene in Revenge of the Sith, where Palpatine says to Anakin, "Do you remember the tragedy? Have you ever heard the tale or the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise?" And he's basically hinting that was the master that taught Palpatine. Like that's the only canonical connection outside of the novel. It's the only time in live action the character's been mentioned. That part. So it kind of a big deal. But yeah, a lot of people pissed that they threw him into this meat grinder, as predicted by several people before the show. So did we miss anything else before we get into the last section of Vernestra and Saul, and then Vernestra and the Senate? Because that's really where I want to stop, because I think that's all there is, really. Do we miss anything, or can we go right to those things?
No, that was the last thing.
The memory wipe. Just the memory wipe.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yep, good. Yep, thank you. So let's do that, and then we'll do Vernestra. Armoress, why don't you walk us through that part, since you remembered it, the memory scene at the Bunta tree?
It was just really weak. It was again, just poor acting, poor writing.
Set us up. What went down? Like, set the table first.
Well, they're basically trying to run away from the Jedi, and the three of them are like, what the heck are we gonna do? And they come up with this crazy idea to, well, if the Jedi end up catching May, they're gonna use her to get to Osha and Smilo Ren, and Smilo Ren's like, I'll just wipe her memory. But it's just the fact that there were so many better options, I think, in that moment, but none of them were used. So yeah, wiping her memory was like the best that they seemed to come up with. They're doing it. They're under the tree. They're hugging. They're repeating stuff they did from like when they were kids. The power of whatever. I don't know what they were mentioning some
I am two
song or something.
Three.
Yeah, I am two. Something about like they existed as one and were born as two, and then he wipes her memory, and then she can't remember the words, and that was kind of it. And then Osha and Smilo Ren take off, leave May behind, and they end up saying, put your hands up, and we're gonna, you're being arrested. And she's like, well, what did I do? I didn't do nothing. And that was kind of it.
Yeah, that's what he did. He had the flashy red thing. Dude, they could have done it. We could have added another franchise to the list. That scene was so stupid. And and what slays me is, right, we've all heard the interviews, right, where they talk about, Hedlund pitched this series and Kennedy read the script and it made her cry. It made me cry watching it, but I can see where, again, they wanted this scene to be this massive emotional payoff, just like the Saul confession execution thing. Like, they wanted this to be like sisters reuniting Frozen style or some bullshit. And like, they spent 8 seconds on screen together in their adult forms. They shot at each other. They fist fought twice. And here we are. All of a sudden, May's like, no, you go. I'll stay. Well, why? Why the fuck aren't we all leaving? Number one. And then number two, when Osha becomes the fucking Sith the next season that they're not going to get, I'm calling her Darth Stockholm. You're leaving with the dude that you watched kill 7 of your friends, right? Who was complicit in all of that nonsense and killed the chick you were into 4 episodes ago that you haven't mentioned since. Like, no aftermath for any of that carnage, right? You're now you're into that. You spent less than 2 days on a planet with this dude.
It wasn't
put his
even
mask
2 days.
on, and now you're crazy. It was less than a day. This whole series takes place in like 72 hours. Right?
I mean, because
Like,
you have instant travel, you have fast travel in this,
teleports and Jedi mountain climbs and
the
power of man.
Hyperspace is is a wormhole now,
which was never a thing, and it took time because it took time for the Falcon to get from Tatooine to Alderaan, and
because Outer Rim too. And this is
World.
Yeah, Bad Doctor's supposed to be beyond the outer rim.
Oh yeah, no, it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be at the edge of the outer rim. They called it like deep space or some shit.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, legit. If, like we pull the graphic up, it's out there. So yeah, dude, I don't get any of this escape plan bullshit. But dude, you know what? It just reminds me of the worst kind of like shipping fan fiction bullshit. Like it's teenage girls that write this garbage where like normal people would like if you had a friend that did 1/100th of the ill shit that this dude's responsible for, and you found out, no, don't worry, he'll be different. I can fix him. Like, no, you would not be okay with that. Like, if that was your sister, you'd be like, the fuck are you doing?
But
no,
he loves
these
me.
are the heroes. He loves me. It's gonna be different this time. He won't do it again. No, he's gonna do it again. Like, stop it. That's this shit. It's like it's ingrained domestic violence waiting to happen. But people eat this shit up. Like these are the Twitter files that Disney thinks that they're courting to support this brand. Except there's none of them. There's like 100 or 1,000, however many vocal people on Twitter on that side of this show, and then there's literally everybody else on the planet that are like, I don't care about this shit anymore. And so
pretty
like this is where we're at with that. These are the characters going into season 2, if they get it, that we're following. There's no heroes, because let's talk about the no heroes. The last important scenes of this show are Vanestra hearing the conversation through the echo in the force. That's like a game power, right?
Mhm.
She apologizes to Saul, the dead body thing, and then the voiceover cuts quickly back to her in the Senate session where she's answering for what happened on Brendok 16 years ago. The Jedi touched down. There was a fucking calamity. Casualties resulted. Oh,
Yeah.
and then by the
And then they
way,
covered up.
the guy that I trained that used to work for me, right? He went crazy and killed all his accomplices. You get that?
Yep.
He went crazy and killed all the accomplices. The chick he worked for, whose idea it was to cover it up, wasn't implicated, right?
Nope, it
She
was all him.
died. Dude, she died while Saul was on Coruscant with the green chick. So she knows he couldn't have done that, right? And everybody else by extension knows that because there were public witnesses. It was a murder in public, right? The second Jedi dies in a Jedi temple that they had just arrived at, and they find the fucking body with the Jedi temple staff.
Poisoned.
That's 2. Poisoned, right? Never been there. We're poisoned with the poison native to the planet that the girls are from, right?
Yeah.
And then I guess they could say he killed Kalnaka. I don't know, whatever. But I'm like, so here comes the deconstruction. They at least have the stones to put the strong female character in charge of the Jedi, that level of council. She continues the conspiracy to blame somebody else for the deaths, yada yada. So great. The women aren't perfect either. I don't care, right? But then we get the ultimate FU. We get the Coyote Mundi situation on steroids for the last frame of this show, where everybody's like, wait a minute, this dude's on the high council, 88 years later or 87 years later. The Sith haven't been around for 1,000 years. So that guy said that, he was here, so he knows he's not dead, right? They fuck fandom over for the final time in the last frame, where Vernestra opens the room, and as soon as the door opens and she says, "Master, we have to talk," you know who it is. Like, you just know there's only one other person saying, you know, there's going to be a pan down, pan up, whatever it was, and it's the back of fucking Yoda's head. So the last thank you. So the last fucking character they could have ruined from OG fandom, they ruined without a word by making him either complicit in a fucking cover up, right, or so fucking stupid that he doesn't know he's being lied to at the peak of his power, that his former apprentice, he couldn't detect the lie. The Force didn't cry out to him when all those knights were murked on Brenda or on Kofar. Nope. Force doesn't work like that anymore. You remember when Order 66 went down and a couple of his Jedis were getting killed in bits and pieces, how quickly he dropped that fucking cane when he was on Kashyyyk with the Wookiees? Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. Turns out he's a pretty Force fucking sensitive guy. But no. He's got to be dragged into the mud with the rest of this bullshit. Dude, fuck this show. Guys, give me your take on Vernestra, the cover-up, Yoda, all that good shit, and then let's get the fuck out of here, because now I'm mad. Armoress, go first. Ladies first. Do this.
Do you want me to give my end thoughts, or you want me to just do the Vernestra?
Give me the take
stuff?
on the the Vernestra stuff and the Yoda stuff.
Yeah, I thought Vernestra was I thought when she was talking to him and she felt really bad, and when he died, and was telling him, that she was, I don't know, I'm sorry you died. And then she goes back to the council and throws him under the bus. I thought that was kind of awful, but I mean, it
Yeah,
looks
no
like
shit.
she's trying to protect herself. I know she's trying to protect the Jedi, but dude, that was your friend. And I thought it was weird of a Jedi to behave that way. So it's like the show is talking about Jedi being bad, and then, well, here we have the Jedi being bad. So it kind of solidified it at the end when she threw him under the bus and lied, whatever. Yoda, I thought, of course, I
Unnecessary.
love seeing Yoda. I like seeing him. But I don't like him. I don't like seeing him in this show. That's
Thank
the
you.
problem.
Yes, clarification. Yeah. It was
So you're
he was
telling
unnecessary to be there for sure.
there's a
Go ahead, Z.
strong female character who throws a male under the bus, even though she's complicit in the lie, and then tries to cover it up. I guess she's right in what she knows again.
There it is. Yeah, I mean, it did. I did. You hit the nail on the head. Like, it was Indara's idea not to tell the truth. She was in charge. That report would have been filed under her name. Number one, right? And then number two, I'm thinking, why bother lying at all? Why not just be like, hey, we showed up here. We did this thing. There was a fire. They tried to fucking mind grape Torben over here. Some shit went down. Kelnaka tried to hack me in half. We didn't know anything about force mind control shit. And when I intervened, they all fucking died. I'm thinking they'd have gotten a fair shake in that council meeting. Just saying. It seems like it was unnecessary.
I mean,
Let's
go back to that scene and talk about it where he kills Mother, whatever her name is.
Saul
So
Shanks.
you have female antagonist one picks up her spear in a attack manner. He brings his lightsaber up in a defensive manner. You just saw how he went into the defensive manner of Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then Anazea turns into Smoke Monster 1, and he's literally watching a child he was to save disappear and be disintegrated before his eyes, and he doesn't know what's about to happen as it's moving towards him. He acted in self-defense.
Yeah, I'm coming
and
around
it's
on that.
Nothing to feel bad about.
Yep.
You would have done the same thing in his shoes.
Oh, I'd cut him in half. Cut him in half. Once I went back and realized the kid was disappearing too.
Especially after they made the first offensive move by taking out the Padawan when they were coming there to talk.
Right. Yeah, already on shaky footing. That's what I mean. I think this show wanted so bad to paint that one-sided picture, and then just couldn't pull it off because they wound up making their home team look worse. With no cool minds prevailing anywhere. Every Jedi looking like an over emotional nutbag. Every witch being like ready to warpath some shit.
This whole
every
show
Jedi on the
one
console
episode.
awful. Or maybe short film.
If people just
minutes,
talked. If you guys just
talked.
I
mean, there's that. Yeah.
It'd been one episode.
I don't know.
But quick to the point of how to rewrite this to make it somewhat better and redo 7. So 7 was all that flashback. So you have episode 3. We'll leave 3 where it is. Let's just do that. We'll leave 3 where it is. I could rewrite that as well. But then you have 7 and 8 where you can set up this whole thing with the Senate, everything like that, because you waited too long to set it up. So you had to set it up in 7.
Way too long. Yeah.
Then you could have had them arrive at the planet on ground. And like, where are we at? He's like, you'll see. And they come out and then they're there. And then it's describing what happened from his point of view and what she didn't see. Then they could go to the cutback as he's doing a voiceover of it, why they're doing it, then cut to the real sound of what's going on and what was said, then come back to them talking there. I mean,
it's on brand for how they did it too. You're right.
It would have looked so much better. It would have told a better story, and you would have had more time to set up this whole Senate inquiry and other stuff that they see that the Jedi is doing wrong. I mean, how much did the Jedi fall and come back in 83 years where you had Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi, a high council that is trying to keep peace, as they said, that we are peacekeepers, we are not warriors. They've said that.
Verbatim. And you said that was your observation about the show before it even got off the ground, is that if as we understand the High Republic, as these clowns are putting it in print, This is the peak of like galactic power for the Senate, for the Republic Senate, and the Jedi as their peacekeepers. Which is why I didn't buy any of that bullshit that the senator said at the end about, about marrying a religion to a government and whoever's in charge of that. Like, no, because our entire framework for understanding the Jedi is they serve the Republic. Obi-Wan says that in Revenge of the Sith, like who you're loyal to. I'm loyal to the Republic, Anakin. Like that
Yeah.
those are his words. That's how they function. They're not the Avengers. They don't have carte blanche to go wherever they want and identify whatever they want to do as an action that they take, unless it pertains to a force sensitivity issue or whatever, like this situation here. They don't just show up and negotiate trade routes or declare war on rivals. That's not what they do. They're not the cops either, which is why every time they talk about arresting shit, I'm like, all right.
The only people that they were the only time they ever brought up was arrests is that they were taking a Sith Lord that was posing as the Chancellor into custody, so he did stand trial to the Senate.
Right. And I don't know. I don't fucking know. All right. What else do we have anything else to cover here? I feel like we left the Armoress off of a discussion piece here at the end. Was there anything else you wanted to add?
I had one thing, but I mean it's right at the end.
Let it rip.
So they did Smiler Ren did his mind wipe on May. And Green Lady was questioning her. She couldn't remember a lot of stuff. And they kind of left it at that, but I don't know if this was brought up in any other reviews or if it's an Easter egg or something, but he didn't wipe the Pip-Boy's memory. That was on her the whole time.
Heard the whole conversation.
So are we R2D2 in it and just remembering? I mean, they brought him back to default, so he's got plenty of memory. So he was on May the entire time, all like this entire episode. He has recorded everything from what I understand. So why don't they just question the droid? They need information.
What would it really change though? Like Saul basically apologized for murdering Anastasia anyway, so it kind of just corroborates the bullshit account of what Vernestra sold to the Senate. So yeah, he recorded the whole thing, but does it actually help anybody? Does it really reveal any truth?
I think it was small. I think it was a small Easter egg because they made a point to show like a 1 second scene of one of the Jedi putting the Pip-Boy away.
Yep. And why would you do it if there wasn't a meaning?
Yeah. So I think that may be, it's just a setup for the next season. But yeah, as far as I know, that Pip-Boy's got all the information that May has.
I don't know. Maybe Basil's gonna go break it out of the lockup or some fucking Basil. Dude, I really need to get around to making that video that just shows the difference between Basil doing Basil shit and the dragons from House of the Dragon episode 4, like battling and ripping the sky apart. 15 minutes. Because that's your $180 million. You know what I mean? But all right, do we want to do? Let's do like let's not do a whole series score because I think there's too much to cover in that. But like Kingsley, give me a number for this episode out of 10, so you can kind of nickel and dime it down to something wherever you want it. Remember, it is the finale, so weight accordingly.
It's the finale. I've never been so relieved of watching a show. I thought I was bad with this Ahsoka, and I was so ready for that to be over.
I know.
And
like
now,
I said, death is a release.
I feel like I've been paroled today. I'm going to talk about it.
Going home.
Because I don't have to waste my Tuesday nights anymore watching this episode, this show. I will not watch a season 2. I'm sorry, everybody. We will not be doing a season 2 review and show cuts.
If I have to.
It's too bad. Like my mental health on a show that its ultimate answer was be your true self. The good guys are the bad guys. The bad guys are do whatever, and everyone lives in a gray world because with no morality whatsoever. Just isn't worth my time. Isn't worth anyone's time. The show should be deleted. The writers should lose their WAG cards and never be let near a writer's room again. Lindsay Helen should be sharing a cell right next to Harvey Weinstein for what
Fact.
she did to these people, and her getting a second chance like this is just an insult to every woman out there who was brutally assaulted by that man, and her being complicit in it is just sad that Me Too doesn't mean for everybody.
Facts,
With
not
that,
opinions.
with that said, good night, everybody. We liked your time. We're glad you're here. And make sure you hit that thumbs up.
Number.
Oh, number.
I'm not going yet. Hey, she still got to do her thing.
Oh, if I have to give a number,
10
I will
out of
go
10.
out of 10.
Yep.
I mean, I'm going to have to go with -10 on this.
Oh, snap. Okay. He's going comically into the negative. I can appreciate
He's got the shit emoji.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. You just have
No, it's too that emoji's too good for this.
This is funny. Is it smiling? If it was, can we get a sad poo? We have angry poo.
No, it's whale poo, the lowest thing on God's green earth.
It's fact. It's dense. It's almost like Jurassic Park pile of poo. All right, Armoress, give me a number and a final thought on the episode.
Well, I'm with King Z on this. I'm relieved. I'm relieved that this is over, but I am still just in shock that it existed. I'm still in shock that this was actually approved by Disney, by the people that wrote it, produced it, directed it. There were so many people that did this, and not one person was like, dude, I don't think we should do this. Like, this kind of sucks, but
it's just like circle jerk of back padding. All right, yeah, it was a great line.
Yeah, good job. I'm always surprised every episode that this exists. This truly exists. Someone approved this. Someone said this is a good idea, and the entire series was just a bad idea. And I really, really like the guy that played Saul. I really liked him in Squid Game. I think he's a great actor. I think this was a bad decision for his career. He acted it as well as he possibly could for what he was given. I hope to see him in better things, but I think this was really bad for him. All the other actors, characters, completely forgettable. Hope to never see them in anything else.
Even Smilo Ren, you think Manny Jacinto didn't pull off?
No, he didn't do it for me.
Whatever.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. I have no interest in touching his lightsaber at all.
No, not holding it. Okay.
No, right. Not holding the lightsaber.
Give me a number.
So 1 to 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think with Saul and a couple of the lightsaber battles, maybe a 2 out of 10. For Saul and a couple lightsabers battles. That was it.
Okay. All right. I usually come in around 2 or 3 out of 10, but I'm giving this a 1.5. It's a finale. It left too much stuff unexplained. I wanted to know where May and Smilo Ren originally met, how he initially sold her on the whole master and also Chimere. Didn't get any of that. I wanted more of, we all knew he was the apprentice to Vernestra. Like the minute we saw the scar on his back, I think there should have been some flashback action there to how he got drummed out of Jedi training. I needed more of Osha, not just saying, it's because of you, I didn't learn how to control my negative emotion. Like, no, nope, needed more than that. Wanted to see some of that in play.
Go to therapy like the rest of us.
You know what I'm saying? Like the Jedi, there needs to be Jedi therapy. Like all the characters, like the 2 Jedi that died in episodes, like the named Jedi that died during the big battle, like Yord and Jackie. Like no one talks about them dying. Like there's no process for that. There's no grieving for that. Like none of that makes it doesn't work. Like again, I compare it to good shows. Like when somebody dies on like Band of Brothers or in Game of Thrones, like there's repercussions to that. You know what I mean? There's a price to be paid for somebody dying. Good, bad, neutral, whichever. And there's no prices to be paid anything here. Every character's motivation flips 73 times here, inexplicably, including Saul. Like when Kingsley was saying, he turned off the transponder to go somewhere else to turn it back on instead of just saying, yo, dog, meet me on Brendock. I got some shit I got to get out. It has to be there. Then they just would have gone. You know what I mean? There's too much broken physics. There's too much broken world building. This is all trash. Kingsley has another asterisk pointer. His mind just blew. It's just too much. This is easily worse than Book of Boba Fett, which I think was the worst show they made in terms of quality overall. I mean, Kenobi was worse because of the canon breaking. with there being another Vader Kenobi battle that never should have happened. So that's trash. But this is just like amateurs put this together and somehow got a budget of 180 million and spent it on God knows what. I honestly don't know. The saber fights don't cost that much. The Wookiee battle that they said was too expensive to shoot in the previous episode, and then they saved it for a flashback. It's just a dude in a zip up Wookiee costume. That's it. Like that's all it is. He wasn't doing crazy wire foo in there. So I don't know where they spent their money, and it's landsliding all of the points out of 10 off of this 1.5. Easy peasy. Right,
And how many actual ship battles did they have?
That's actual, zero.
Flight
they had a couple
stuff.
chases that there was time on ships, but there weren't like rampant dog fights and craziness. I mean, do they spend all their money on like the moth things that Vernestra killed? Remember the hype behind the purple whip? One scene, killed a bug.
Killed a bug.
Killed a bug. Bug zapper. Nobody cares. Like maybe they spent all their money on the moths or something. I don't know.
Real quick. On the part you were talking about the end and turn the transponder back on. Back to my rewrite where he's there telling her what's going on, using that as the flashback. He turns the transponder on before they leave to bring the Jedi there because he knows that Smilo Ren wants to kill her, using her as bait and proof of the Sith. So when they show up, they see this dude with a red lightsaber and they're like, oh no. And then like all the Jedi know. I mean, that would have been smart, clever of what a Jedi would do.
I mean, at the time he's tracking her down to the planet in this episode, it was more important that he fucking send the fucking email that says Sith detected on Brendok than actually pursuing her to where the only place she could go.
Yeah.
You know?
And also one more thing, going way back to the beginning, she's taking Smilo Ren with her to see her sister who she wants to save, knowing that he wants to kill her.
Man. The minute I saw that course later, and I'd be like, shake. Nope. Everybody here, sub-room temperature IQ, but that's what you get with Disney Star Wars these days, folks. That's going to do it for us, I think. We've gone on way too long on this garbage show. We've put way more thought into it than they have. King Z with a couple of clutch rewrites. The Armoress, as always, with a couple of key observations of crap that they probably don't even know is fairly clever in a setup with the pimp bot thing that they put in storage, and pointing out another bunch of glaring inconsistencies that they have. And that's what Disney Star Wars is. It's a bunch of people getting into a room, throwing ideas at a whiteboard, which is great to brainstorm, but then never really paring it down or connecting things logically or with any kind of through line. That's what they do. And so if this garbage gets a season 2, it's going to be awful. When Ahsoka gets their season 2, it's going to be awful. It doesn't matter. Not Bad Batch. Skeleton Crew is going to be awful. Mark my words. It's the caliber of people they hire to write this crap. Nothing more. But I think that's going to do it for us, guys. Thank you for sticking around this long. Play through while you're doing the dishes, mowing the lawn. We're good company. And we'll figure out what we're going to do next, and we'll let you guys know. Bye.